I remember the exact moment I stopped lying to myself. I opened my banking app, like I did every morning, hoping something had changed, hoping maybe I miscounted. Maybe I forgot about some money somewhere. $17.42. That was it. That was everything I had in this world. $17. Rent was due in 4 days. My data was almost finished. I hadn't eaten a proper meal since Tuesday, and it was Friday morning. I wasn't even hungry anymore. I think my body had just accepted it. I opened my notes app and did what I always did. I tried to make the numbers work. Groceries, transport, recharge, rent. I stared at that list for a long time. Because I already knew. $17 doesn't stretch that far. I sat up and looked out the window. Life was already moving out there. People going somewhere. Everyone with somewhere to be. And I'm sitting here, doing the same calculation I've been doing for months. Getting the same answer. The worst part wasn't being broke. I could handle broke. The worst part was the silence in my head, where my dreams used to be loud. This is where my story started. The night before, I got an email. A job interview. 9 o'clock the next morning. I read it 3 times. Just to make sure it was real. I set 2 alarms. Picked out the only clean shirt I had. I even ironed it. Morning came. I was ready. Shirt on. Bag packed. And then I checked. The bus fare was $3. I had none. I called the one person I thought would help. No answer. I tried someone else. They said they'd send it. They never did. I stood at that door, fully dressed, going nowhere. At 9:17, my phone rang. It was them, asking where I was. I watched it ring. I didn't pick up. What was I going to say? I took off my shirt. Sat back down on that same mattress. $3. That's all it cost. $3 and a chance I'd been waiting months for was just gone. Poverty doesn't just take your money. It takes your chances too.
After that call went unanswered, I didn't leave the room. Not for air. Not for anything. I just sat there, on that same mattress, staring at nothing. At some point my stomach reminded me that I was still alive. I hadn't eaten since the morning before. I got up, walked to the kitchen, and opened the fridge. Water. And ketchup. That was it. That was everything inside. No bread. No eggs. No leftovers. Just a bottle of water and a half-empty ketchup. I stood there with the door open for a long time. Like something was going to appear. I used to think hunger was just a feeling in your stomach. But it's not. It gets into your head. It makes everything feel heavier. Your thoughts slow down. Your hope gets quiet. You stop thinking about the future and just start thinking about right now. About surviving right now. I thought about calling someone. But I'd already done that today. Already asked. Already been let down. There's only so many times you can reach out before you start feeling like a burden to the people around you. So I drank some water. Went back to that mattress. And told myself tomorrow would be different. I didn't believe it. But I said it anyway. Because sometimes that's all you've got. Some nights. Hope is just a lie you tell yourself to make it to morning. I woke up the next morning and did what I always did. I picked up my phone. And the first thing I saw was everyone else's life. Someone from school just bought a car. Posted a picture with the keys. Big smile. People congratulating him in the comments. I sat there and stared at it longer than I should have. I kept scrolling. Another friend just got engaged. A girl I grew up with just got a promotion. Someone I used to sit next to in class is traveling the world. Post after post after post. Everyone moving. Everyone arriving somewhere. And me, still in the same room. Still on the same mattress. Still nowhere. Nobody tells you how lonely it feels to watch everyone move forward while you stay in the same place. It's not jealousy exactly. It's more like confusion. Like everyone got a map and somehow yours never arrived. I thought about messaging one of them, just to say congratulations. But I couldn't bring myself to do it. Not because I didn't mean it. I did. I genuinely did. But there's something painful about celebrating someone else's finish line when you haven't even found your starting point yet. We all started from the same place. Same classrooms. Same dreams. Same age.
But somewhere along the way the paths split, and I kept wondering what I missed. What turn I didn't take. What door I walked past without knowing it was open. The hardest part of being left behind is pretending you're okay with it. That night, I couldn't sleep. The phone was face down. The room was dark. And for the first time, I seriously started asking myself if any of this was even worth it. I started listing everything in my head. Everything I had tried. Every application. Every plan. Every time I believed something was about to change. And every single time, nothing. I had been here before. I had believed before. And believing hadn't gotten me anywhere. I thought about the dreams I used to have. The things I told myself I would become. The younger version of me that was so sure. So certain. That kid had no idea what was coming. And part of me wished I could go back and warn him. Or maybe, just let him keep believing. Because at least back then it didn't hurt yet. I actually said it out loud that night. To nobody. To the empty room. I said, maybe I should just quit. Maybe I should just let go of all of it and find a way to be okay with ordinary. Because chasing something you can't reach doesn't make you brave. It just makes you tired. And for a few minutes, I meant it. I really meant it. The dream felt too big, and I felt too small, and the distance between where I was and where I wanted to be felt like something no amount of effort could ever close. But then something small happened. Something so quiet I almost missed it. A thought. Not a big one. Just one small thought that refused to leave. What if you're closer than you think? I don't know why I picked up the phone again. Maybe I couldn't sleep. Maybe that question was still in my head. Whatever the reason, I started scrolling. And somewhere between midnight and morning, something stopped me. It was a video. A regular person. Nobody famous. No fancy background. Just someone sitting in a plain room. Just like mine. Talking about how they learned a skill online and started making money from it. I almost kept scrolling. Almost. But something about it made me stay. Maybe it was because they didn't look rich. They didn't look lucky. They looked like me. Like someone who had been stuck and found a small door nobody told them about. And they walked through it. And I sat up in that dark room and watched the whole thing. Then watched it again. The skill they were talking about was something I had never considered before. Not because it seemed hard, but because nobody in my world had ever mentioned it was even possible. That's the thing about growing up without examples. You don't dream about doors you've never seen. I searched for more videos. Then more after that. Free tutorials. Beginner guides. All of it right there on my phone. No degree required. No money to start. Just time. And I had nothing but time. For the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like the problem was me. I felt like the problem was that nobody had ever shown me this path before. I stayed up until the sun came through that window. Learning. Just learning. And for the first time in I don't know how long, I forgot to feel sorry for myself. Because I was too busy seeing what was possible. One video. That's all it took. One video to remind me that the game wasn't over. I just hadn't found my move yet. After that night, I didn't stop. Every day. Same room. Same phone. Same mattress. But something was different now. I was different. And I kept going even when nothing was happening. Even when it felt like nobody was paying attention. I just kept going. There were days I thought nothing would ever come of it. Days I submitted work and heard nothing back. Days the doubt came creeping in again, just like before. But I remembered that night. I remembered almost quitting. And I decided that whatever happened, I was not going back to that feeling. Not again. Then one afternoon, on the most ordinary day, with nothing special about it at all, my phone buzzed. I picked it up, and there it was. A payment notification. $1. That was it. Just $1. But I stared at that screen like it was the most important thing I had ever seen in my life. $1. I know how that sounds. I know people spend $1 without thinking twice. But this dollar was different. This dollar didn't come from a job someone gave me. It didn't come from asking or borrowing or waiting. It came from something I built, something I learned, something I created with nothing but time and a phone and a refusal to quit. I sat in that same room where I had cried, the same room where I had watched everyone else move forward, the same room where I had told myself maybe I should quit. And I laughed. Not the kind of laugh from before, when I saw $17 and laughed because it wasn't funny. This time I laughed because something finally was. That $1 told me something no person, no interview, no opportunity had ever told me before. It told me I was capable. It told me the path was real. It told me the only thing standing between me and more was more work. And for the first time, that didn't feel like a burden. It felt like a direction. $1. The most important dollar I ever made. Because it was the first one that was truly mine. After that first dollar, I didn't stop. I couldn't. Not because I was chasing money, but because for the first time I had proof. Proof that it was possible. Proof that it was possible for someone like me. The dollar became 10. The 10 became 100. It didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen without days where I wanted to stop. But it happened. Slowly. Quietly. In the same room where I once thought nothing ever would. I think about the night I checked my account and saw $17. I think about the interview I missed because I couldn't afford the bus. I think about opening that fridge and finding nothing but water and ketchup. I think about watching everyone else get married and buy cars while I sat still. And I think about the night I almost quit. How close I came to walking away from all of it. None of it was wasted. Not the hunger. Not the waiting. Not the loneliness. Not even the shame. All of it was building something in me that I couldn't see at the time. Resilience isn't something you decide to have. It's something that grows in you when you survive the things you thought would break you. Success was never reserved for other people. I know that now. It was never about talent or luck or who your family was or what city you grew up in. It was always about who refuses to stay down. Who keeps going on the night they have every reason to stop. Who picks up their phone at 3 in the morning, not to scroll, but to learn. If you are sitting somewhere right now with very little in your account, and even less in your fridge. If you watched everyone around you move forward while you stayed still. If you have had that night where you almost quit. I want you to hear this. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are just in your part 1. And part 1 is not the end of the story. It was always possible. I just had to become the proof.